2024 is an absolutely epic year for fans of JRPGs. We are eating well, with marquee releases in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, and the recently released Behemoth and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth all representing likely Game of the Year contenders. But there's a lot more going on this year that you should also be keeping an eye on. Many Persona fans are eagerly anticipating news of Persona 6, of which we will cover in the latter half of this video, and some Persona fans are delighted for the launch of a game releasing later this year from the franchise that birthed the Persona series a couple of decades ago, Shin Megami Tensei, with this particular game being an extended and greatly enhanced version of the 5th SMT game, with Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. While the Shin Megami Tensei series certainly doesn't reach the popularity of the more recent entries in the Persona series that spawned from it, SMT is a beloved series known for its challenging gameplay and lavish demon-fusing systems, and it is my pleasure to announce that I will be doing a giveaway of the digital deluxe edition of Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, releasing on June 21st worldwide for the Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. I played SMT 5 back in 2021 when it was released, and I had a great time with it, and with all the additions being included here in Vengeance, and with the game no longer being exclusive to just the Switch, this really is one of the perfect games to check out if you are interested in trying out the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, or for those who simply want the substantial content included with the game without being solely tied to the Switch platform. The link to the giveaway is in the description for those who are interested in the game, so definitely check it out if you'd like to see a greatly extended version of an acclaimed entry in the SMT franchise. A couple of things to take note of this game. SMT 5 Vengeance introduces a number of components that greatly add to the core experience of the original release, with the most notable addition being the inclusion of a brand new route called the Canon of Vengeance, with the Canon of Creation being present that tells the original story of Shin Megami Tensei 5. This new story path, Canon of Vengeance, is said to largely follow the base scenario, but diverges drastically from it from the latter half of the game, resulting in a completely different ending. This is likely the biggest selling point for those who already played SMT 5 before, so this scenario alone will add another 60 to 80 hours on top of the existing storyline that offers the same amount of playtime. Not only will an entirely new storyline be added, but an entirely new dungeon, along with new quests, will be added as well. In addition, over 40 demons have been added, resulting in over 270 demons to collect. Players can interact with demons outside of battle. Various tweaking of the game's UI has been made, and the feature to save anywhere instead of solely at founts has been added, along with many more updates that Atlus has yet to reveal. There are an enormous amount of updates here, with Atlus mainly interested in attracting new players that have yet to try out the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, providing various features that players can utilize to make their journey through this iteration of the post-apocalyptic Tokyo less challenging. Needless to say, veteran SMT players will also feel right at home here, as the core challenge harkening back to the series' inception is still very much present here. So it looks like Atlus is just trying to cater to a larger audience with this enhanced title, while also offering the core SMT experience for longtime players. With that said, what are your thoughts on the game so far? If you are new to Shin Megami Tensei and are more of a Persona player, are you interested in potentially checking this game out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm thrilled to see this game release on all other major platforms, as I feel like one of my only complaints with SMT 5 was the game's performance in certain areas. With 4 massive areas to explore and with some truly epic boss fights to encounter, it definitely threw the Switch through the ringer to get the game running properly. So at least its availability on other platforms will allow the game to truly shine here. I can't wait for this game, and it's nice to see that Atlus is still committed to creating SMT games, even though this is technically SMT 5, albeit a greatly expanded one. Atlus has been having an epic year so far, with the release of Persona 3 Reload kicking off a year that will be marked with a number of high-profile titles that are soon to follow, including Unicorn Overlord releasing later this month, along with Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance and Metaphor ReFantazio being a massive new game release later this year in the fall of 2024. While Persona 5 The Phantom X is the only other confirmed Persona game from Atlus, with a release date slated for fiscal year 2025, Persona 6 is ever present in the minds of fans across the world, as the anticipation for this next mainline numbered Persona entry is seemingly nowhere in sight. While we have discussed Persona 6 some in a previous video, of which I will link in the description and at the end of this video, there has been one key new development that has surfaced for the game. This update comes from Midori over on Twitter, an insider with a completely accurate track record of disclosing Persona and JRPG releases long before they are officially announced. And this new insight from Midori suggests that the setting of Persona 6 will stick true to the majority of Persona releases and continue taking place at the high school setting. There has been a particularly vocal set of Persona fans that have been interested in seeing a new Persona game venture out of the high school setting and into something centered more around adult life, like a college setting. And it seems like, at least for Persona 6, and thanks to Midori's track record, we are likely to see the franchise continue with the high school setting. For the record, Persona has released a game that ventured out of the high school setting before in Persona 2 Eternal Punishment in 2000, but the series has since stuck to the high school setting every entry thereafter. For both Western and Eastern cultures, the educational years are often viewed through a romantic lens, and while the West sees college as a pivotal time for students to experience freedom, exploration, and personal growth, the Japanese often attribute those experiences to high school. High school in Japan sees students undergo rigorous testing for college entrance exams, while at the same time allows for students to explore other aspects of their lives and interests through recreational activities and clubs, an aspect that fades later into life, as the college and career stages of life occupy a significant part of Japanese adult life. These aforementioned reasons could be an explanation as to why Persona 6 may continue to stick with the high school setting. Now, that's not to say that Persona 6 will feel all too similar to the other, more recent games in the series though, as in September of last year, Midori hinted that Persona 6 is a higher scale game than Persona 5, stating that Persona 6 will be a much larger step than say Persona 5 was from Persona 3 and Persona 4. With Persona 4 introducing a number of new systems and general enhancements over many components of Persona 3, namely more themed dungeons over the more monotonous Tartarus in 3, and being able to assume full party control in battles with Persona 4, Persona 5 was truly a massive leap forward in many ways. The most obvious of these leaps was in the graphics, as Persona 5 was released almost 10 years after Persona 4 and on an entirely new console generation, along with expanded areas to explore and traverse, completely revamped dungeons to explore that no longer featured random floor layouts and instead sported custom-made dungeons that greatly improved on dungeon traversal with its many themes, and more. Now, obviously your choice of what you may consider your favorite Persona game will differ depending on the person and what they value more across all of the game's metrics, but you can definitely see that the leap in scale from Persona 5 over Persona 3 and 4 was very noticeable, and from what Midori is saying here in this tweet, it looks like Persona 6 will also mark a larger step over Persona 5. In this very tweet, she also discloses what she believes to be likely release windows for Persona 6, with 2026 being the most likely. 2026 also happens to be Persona's 30th anniversary, so it makes sense that this could likely be the year we'll see Persona 6, with perhaps an official announcement for the game happening later this year in 2024, and if not, definitely in 2025. With that said, what are your thoughts on Persona 6 and its setting likely sticking to the high school setting we've been familiar with all these years? For more information on Persona 6, watch this video and be sure to enter into my giveaway of SMT5 Vengeance if you are itching for more JRPG goodness arriving this summer. And I will see all you good people real soon in the next one.